So Dylan, that was some pretty fancy flying.
Thank you.
Very, very beautiful airplane. I imagine the graphics took a considerable amount of time.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Tell us about your plane.
I bought it last fall from Peak, and it was just your kind of generic yellow, red, and black ugly airplane, so I stripped it down and spent the winter recovering it.
Recovering. I understand too that there were some modifications done in the canopy as well?
Yeah, started out as a two-seater with a gigantic canopy, so I shortened that and made my own canopy for it. Looks a little better, I think.
When you're flying, of course, there's smoke, there's must be some different kinds of things going on in this airplane. What, what's a guy looking at to set one of these up?
About $1,500, $1,600
to get you going.
To get it set up just like that.
Actually, I don't know much about smoke systems. How does it work?
Well, there's just an electric pump that hooks up to your radio. It's on a switch. It's the speed changes with the throttle, so more throttle means more oil into the muffler, and it just wraps around the muffler in a coil to heat it. Okay. So it burns better, and then there's just an injector that shoots it right by the hot exhaust and burns it. Makes a big mess though.
Yeah, I could imagine.
You don't want to see the underneath of it.
Oh, with the show you're doing, I think it's worth it. Hey, thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at your helicopter.
Okay.
So Dylan, this, I understand, started its life as a T-Rex.
Yep. It actually started as a box of wood. This fuselage, it's Approach Engineering, Apache, and it's all balsa and plywood.
All balsa and plywood?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's definitely for someone who likes building, as opposed to the fiberglass ones.
Many hours of work.
Many, yeah.
Many hours of work. Obviously, it's got a four-rotor head. For all of our helicopter people, how is that compared to standard, like a two-rotor flybarless system?
Honestly, I can't tell a difference because with the flybarless controllers, this one has a Skookum 360 in it, and I really can't tell a difference between this and the flybar.
You were showing me earlier the front gun pod on it. That was pretty impressive, can you?
Yeah, I hooked all these up so they turn together. It's more of a novelty. It's just about impossible to control when you're flying it, so it's pretty much just for show on the ground.
It's pretty impressive on the ground. Yeah.
Just a little extra detail.
So tell us about some of the details on the bodywork.
I put panel lines and rivets on. The rivets are glue drops from a syringe, laid one by one.
Wow, all by hand?
Probably 10,000 on here. And then the panel lines are made with fine line tape and primer.
So what was the biggest challenge of this build?
Fiberglassing is the hardest part because you have to cover the wood to give it some strength and basically something to paint to, and the glassing and the sanding and over and over and over again, that's by far the biggest part.
So you mentioned about the Skookum flybar controller. What is that exactly?
It's basically a gyro for your head. You get rid of the flybar, you lose a lot of stability, so you get these electronic mixers, I guess, to go on there, and they take care of all that for you.
So it smooths everything out, makes it easier to fly, makes it more stable. Can we look underneath the canopy just to see what's...
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty big power system.
Yeah, it runs on 8-cell.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful machine. Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of RC TV. On next week's episode, we're headed back up to Medicine Hat for the RC shootout to see some of the young drivers from that area. And then we're going to be looking at what it's like to purchase your first rock crawler. And we're going to be looking at a great profile of a plane and also a winter bash. Maybe some bashing, maybe some flying from Winnipeg. See you next week, folks.
RCTV, your radio-controlled authority, has been brought to you in part by Eliminator RC, your one-stop hobby shop. RC Pit Stop, bringing the best of RC to BC. And John's Hobbies, Toronto's local hobby store.